Hundreds of people are dead and scores injured. A major 7.9 magnitude earthquake struck southern Turkey and neighboring Syria earlier this morning. At this time, the exact death toll remains unclear as rescuers search for survivors through the rubble. But we are hearing reports of at least 300 people dead in both Turkey and Syria. Videos shared on social media show dozens of collapsed buildings while frightened residents huddle on the streets amid the chaos. Multiple strong aftershocks were also felt across the region in Israel, Syria, and Lebanon. The largest aftershock was recorded at 6.7 magnitude. Turkey's disaster agency has called for help from the international community as 1,000 search and rescue volunteers have been dispatched. The deadly quake is one of the most powerful to hit the Middle East in the past 100 years. Israel's Defense Minister Yoav Gallant has instructed the IDF and Ministry of Defense to prepare to send emergency aid to the disaster zone. Take a listen to some of the survivors in Turkey.
There are people still trapped under the rubble. I have a friend living in this apartment. His children were rescued from the top floor, but only his daughter broke an arm. We'll see what happened to those living on the ground floors. May God give us a speedy recovery.
I was sleeping when my wife suddenly woke me up. The quake was very severe, very scary. We were hearing sounds from all over the place. It took almost 2 minutes until the shaking stopped.
Our defense correspondent Jonathan Regeb joins me in studio. Jonathan, Israel reacting quickly to its neighbors. Eli Cohen issuing a message of solidarity. Yoav Gallant, as we mentioned, instructing the IDF to provide humanitarian aid. What sort of aid is the IDF going to be providing? Can we expect rescues to hit the ground, very quickly?
Maybe. Israel already passing the message that if needed, there are teams that can head to Turkey. It has not happened yet. Of course, Turkey has to ask for such a delegation to come, but if what we're hearing from Turkey is true and the magnitude is so big, then yeah, we can expect an Israeli delegation. Not for the first time. 1999, a very severe earthquake hitting Turkey back then, more to the west of the country, the area of Istanbul as well, and there was an Israeli delegation even finding an Israeli survivor, an Israeli girl under the rubble. And of course, Israeli teams with a lot of experience in cases like this in Haiti, in Mexico, in other earthquakes. So yes, we can expect Israel to provide assistance if the Turks ask for it. And with relations between the two countries warming up in the past year, the visit of President Isaac Herzog to Turkey, visits of the foreign ministers. So yes, I think we can expect an official delegation from the Home Front Command, which, as we said, has a lot of expertise and experience in this field. Also, other organizations such as Zaka, for example, they're already prepared to provide assistance for Turkey. Now it's all an issue of Turkey asking for that assistance, and the Israeli team will be ready to go. The distance is not very long to Turkey. Therefore, I think we can expect it to happen. Right.
Jonathan, stay with me. I want to bring into the conversation Terry Newman, IDF Search and Rescue Reservist, Israel's Defense Minister. Terry, as you mentioned, Minister Yoav Gallant has instructed the IDF and Ministry of Defense to prepare to send emergency aid to the disaster zone. Have you received any instructions yet?
Good morning. We've been told to be ready, which we are. Obviously, our thoughts are first and foremost with those who are currently in the rubble at the moment and their families and all the searchers on the ground at the moment. But we are certainly ready to do what is needed to be done. Your colleague in the studio mentioned what happened in 1999. Then, in fact, Israel also sent across equipment as well, buildings, temporary homes, etc. At the moment, the messaging that we are getting from the Ministry of Defense is search and rescue to save those, similar to what was done in Haiti, in Miami. It was also done in Indonesia and other places. Israel is very proud to have one of the best search and rescue units in the world. And if and when we are requested to by the Turkish government, obviously the IDF will send us.
Absolutely. Terry, walk us through a rescue mission scenario like this one. What does such a rescue mission entail? And what are some of the challenges you could potentially face?
Well, yeah, first of all, it's important to say when the IDF sends in a search and rescue team, we have our Israeli flags on our uniform, so it is very much visible that we are coming from the IDF, from the Israeli Defense Forces. There are warehouses which store the equipment which is used in and around the Ben Gurion airport area. They are taken on airplanes, Hercules, whatever it is required, come into the area, and every place different. Every single earthquake area is different. Every single natural disaster area is different. And the commanders on the ground make the decisions as to what needs to be done, both in terms of those people on the heavy mechanical equipment and also the actual rescuers on the ground. So it has to be, there's a lot said about Israeli ingenuity and learning how to think on your feet and thinking fast, and this is an exact example of where that is needed most.
Absolutely. And tell me a little bit about the coordination that goes into a rescue mission such as this one in a foreign country with Israeli troops. How does that work exactly?
Well, the first and most important decision is made, obviously, here in the Ministry of Defense. Are we going to send? And Israel has always, even with countries which Israel does not have official relations, the approach of Israel has always been, if we can help, we will help. Second stage is then being invited by the host country. For example, there's also, earthquake victims at the moment in Syria. I very much doubt that we will be invited to go and help there. If we are instructed and we are invited, then the team gets organized. And as I say, at the moment, various parts of the search and rescue unit are getting ready at the moment. Then the team comes together, they fly across. And then when you arrive, you are received on the other end. You go to wherever the natural disaster is, and then you get the equipment out and you start doing what you know to do and what you've practiced here many, many times.
Terry, on a personal note, as an Israeli taking part in a rescue mission in a foreign country, what are some of the reactions you receive?
I have to say, first of all, most countries are very, very grateful. Remember, you're going to a place where there's a lot of carnage. Everyone's in shock. People aren't really thinking, are you from this country? Are you from that country? They just want to be saved. The human desire to live is one of those, the will to live, so to speak, is one of those forces which drives us on. Specifically Turkey, I should say, we have offices in Turkey. We have family in Turkey. Turkey is one of Israel's most important allies in the Middle East. We have very deep strategic relationships with the Turkish people, and therefore it is important, in fact critical, that Israel reaches its hand out to help as it can, as much as it can, both in terms of immediate search and rescue now, but also after the immediate 24 to 48 hours, because as I'm sure you're aware, 90% of those people saved are saved in the first 24 hours. This is the most critical time. After that, you have a sliding scale. So we have to get as much help as we can afterwards, but the crisis doesn't end after 24 or 48 hours. You have the whole rebuilding of the area, and there also Israel should be generous to help our Turkish brethren and sisters in rehabilitating and rebuilding those areas.
Terry Newman, thank you very much for joining us this morning. IDF Search and Rescue Reservist, thank you very much.
Thank you.